That was one of the first comments that I said to you, I think, off camera.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's great that you're doing it, but just know if you're going to do this, go all the way. And great job. It's been 1 year.
1 year. I was like, you know what? No, Sam talks about like how much time he invests in just learning.
Whenever you don't know how to do anything, it just comes down to how or who. So your mind should automatically just go YouTube. If not, who can I ask?
This is not a theoretical thing. You have done this. You have your hands in a lot of things. You have like multiple law firms. You run a teaching academy. How do you figure out how to spend your days?
I think the number one thing that most people right now are trying to strive towards is having that control of being able to say, no, I don't want to work at 3 p.m. today because I just want to take it off and hang out with my spouse.
Yeah.
It's that freedom of time.
I get enough leads from my friends, family, and my network. What do you say to that?
It's not sustainable. Essentially, it's a bottleneck. If your business depends on other people, then it's just a matter of time. What if that one source dies out for you?
Law flip, objection, your honor. Turn the game upside down. Law flip, objection, your honor. Turn the game upside down.
Welcome to Law Flip. It's a conversation about law, life, business, doing things as a lawyer the way that maybe we weren't taught to do it. Doing things in a different way. Today we have a very special guest. So this gentleman was our first ever guest on Law Flip, and he was chosen for a very specific reason. He fits the mold of what we like to talk about, and that is you don't have to be miserable to be an attorney. You don't have to be miserable to make money. You can do things like sit here and film a podcast and have it actually make sense. So we are so happy to have in the building Sam Malai.
Thank you so much, Benji. It's been 1 year.
1 year. So it's been absolutely 1 year. So thank you for joining us. And to find us on social media, we are at LawFlip, LAWFLIP. And if you have any legal questions whatsoever about anything, call us 1-833-LawFlip. So, Sam, how are you doing?
Fantastic. Thanks to God.
Yeah.
It's been really good. Been living with my wife. And we're actually expecting a baby.
Oh my God, that's incredible. In our old language, we say Mazel Tov.
Thank you so much.
No, we say B'Sha'a Tova because it has not happened yet, and we're superstitious. And, as lawyers, we're superstitious. And as lawyers, we do things sort of, in this traditional way of, the old school way is, hey, work, bust your butt, and work on your cases, work on your matters. You don't work on your business. That's not something that we were taught to do. And in our first episode, you talked to us about how you do things differently. And it's so nice to see you a year later. And I don't know, what comes to mind? What's the first thing that you want to talk about when you think about anything new that you've learned over the year that you think that you could share with our audience?
Sure. So, in my legal funnel program where I teach lawyers about, creating a virtual law firm, I was talking about, Zoom, using Calendly and all these things. And all of a sudden the pandemic happened. Yeah. And, everything that was kind of preaching became reality. Yeah. Where we were kind of forced to, have Zoom meetings and do all those things. So it was actually a very good year, thank God. I think the pandemic gave everybody focus, it kind of put some fire up people's butt to kind of focus down and really, try to go after it. And it was a good year.
Yeah. If you put aside, like, obviously the elephant in the room is that it's been devastating for so many people, businesses and everything. But if you just have the narrow focus and we're just talking strictly about business, it has given us all the opportunity to re-examine how we operate. And just, one of the first things I remember asking you is like, are you happy? And you were, it was so obvious that you were. Like, how do you feel about that very thing? How important is it for you to maintain that happiness and contentment in the way that you operate your business?
Very important. And it goes back to, again, what you do on a daily basis. You want to make sure to, I think something that you do yourself also is to mix in pleasure with work. Mm-hmm. Make sure that you're doing something on a daily basis that you look forward to. Life isn't just about work. Yeah. It's great to, to make an income and make sure that your family is but also, make sure that your other parts are also covered. Make sure you're healthy. Make sure you have good relationships, make sure that you treat everybody around you well. The big picture matters most.
Yeah. And one of the things that you do is you literally take lawyers who so much want to go from this traditional lifestyle to become innovative, to become business owners. And I imagine that you see a lot of people in their infancy when they're first starting to really explore the concept that maybe they can do this. Maybe they can leave the traditional law firm job and go be independent. What are some of the challenges that you see them facing that you're like, wow, they really don't even know this. They don't know this. And it's so obvious to you that you feel like it must feel so good to impart upon them this knowledge.
Yeah. So this is it. It just comes down to lawyers being burnt out by trying to do everything themselves.
Okay.
Actually, me and my mentor set up a couple of meetings with 5 of our students yesterday to have deep conversations to see exactly what are their big challenges. And the number one thing that came out is, hey, I'm doing everything myself. I don't have that many employees. I'm basically managing myself. So it really comes down to first realizing that, if the business depends on you, then you're now your own boss. You're essentially employee of yourself. And then now what that means is you got to go work on your systems and your processes so that you could be able to, so your law firm, your business can run without you.
But I'm only bringing in X dollars a year, and if I hire other people to do those things, I'm taking part of the income that I'm bringing in.
Yes, that's always the objection. But the idea is actually you can't afford not to, because it's not sustainable, until what point you're going to continue working, 80-hour weeks until what point? So no, it's always better to make less money, and get it off your hands and, work in a more balanced way.
What is the balance, right? So what are the type of things that you should reserve for yourself versus the things that you should pawn off or just, sort of delegate to other people?
It comes down to, everybody is different. So you got to figure out exactly what you gravitate towards. There's some people who like being on the phone. So maybe then you should be the person on the phone talking to clients, but some people like being behind a computer. So you got to figure out exactly what you're good at, what you strive, what you gravitate towards, and delegate everything else out.
Do you see that ego is a big problem? Maybe ego, insecurity, that sort of we were taught, you should be an intellectual warrior. You should not be focused on the business. You should be focused on case law, reviewing cases, drafting motions. That people have an ego about the fact, like, I can't give that up. Even though I don't like it that much, even though I'm not that great at it, I should be doing it. Is that something that you see a lot?
Yeah, it's lack of ego is one way, I guess we would say it, but you got to let go. I don't know what that is. I don't know what's the core thing behind it, but you got to be willing to let go. I think it's the perfectionist side of ours.
How did you do it?
Through a mentor who kind of forced me to be able to replace myself. The idea was to replace myself so that even if I'm not working, basically everything would still run in its own. And it's little by little. At least first you get the mindset down, and then little by little you work towards it.
Okay, so obviously one of the things is you could scale, you could do more by being able to delegate. What are the other benefits of starting to incorporate this sort of virtual, remote, scalable business where you're delegating all sorts of actions? Like, what are the benefits that you achieve by doing that?
I think the number one thing that most people right now are trying to strive towards is having that flexible schedule to work on your own hours. I think that's one of the main reasons why people become Uber drivers is they get to pick their own time.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in other facets of life. So having that control of being able to say, no, I don't want to work at 3 p.m. today because I just want to take it off and hang out with my spouse.
Yeah.
It's that freedom of time.
Yeah. And I think one of the things for me is, like, I've always been a self-perceived, like, creative person, but the way that you operate generally as a lawyer, it removes all your ability to be creative. And so putting aside finances, just being able to sit down and have a conversation with you, that was something that was off limits to me. That was not available to me. I would not be even having a coffee with you, let alone having a podcast with you right now. And I think that's I still have to unlearn so much of that stuff. I'm sort of, in the vein of Sam Malai. I'm like trying to do all these things, trying to build a practice, trying to build relationships, but it's still so ingrained in me that I am not supposed to be doing things like this. So I imagine some of your students, they come in there and they're like, oh, no, but I can't do that because ABC.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much what you said.
Yeah. Okay. So when you're teaching people how to do this, how to let go, what are some of the other things that they need to learn? Obviously, they need to find people to help them, do the duties that they don't want to do. What are some of the other things that they need to learn how to do?
It's creating the processes. The processes essentially is a set of instructions that you record in writing, either through, basically, let's talk practical terms. It's a Google Doc, essentially, Google document that you'll be able to type out instructions, plus record videos, Loom videos, if you guys want to record good video instructions, LOOM, and that you record your screen, and you provide, hey, when this happens, go do this. And you record that, you write that down, and you pretty much create a kind of like a McDonald's franchise model instructional manual. Here's how you run a McDonald's business. You need to create that for yourself. And actually today in Legal Funnel, that's what I basically taught. Create your manual for you.
What are some examples of things that people, the biggest sales object, that may work for this business, but it doesn't work for my law practice area? Have you seen a practice area that it doesn't work for?
No. And even the people that question and don't get it, maybe you just haven't explored enough and you haven't really delved into it.
Or it's too complex. I can't do that from my practice area. It's too complex.
It's the non-believers,
Yeah.
The world is going to move on. Either apply or do it, because everything is possible. Everything is possible. That's the mindset. So if you don't get it yet, maybe you haven't figured it out yet. Maybe, it's not just because you don't get it yet doesn't mean it's not possible. So
I think one of the other things that even for me, it's overwhelming, right? So I'm thinking about email marketing, right? And I see you do a great job of it. For me, I'm about to start learning how to do it, right? So I register for ActiveCampaign. I see these videos and I'm like, do I really want to just dive into this right now and really learn about it? And I actually, without even thinking about you, I was like, you know what? No, Sam talks about like how much time he invests in just learning. And I think that it's an overwhelming concept to just start to like invest in learning, as opposed to, wait, I could just do the job that I was trained to do as a lawyer. And like, this is out of my comfort zone. Like, how do you have the wherewithal sort of mentally to say, it makes sense for me to invest in some education on YouTube and watch hours of video without having any idea that it's going to benefit you in any way?
Because there's so much information out there, you don't want to just sit there and consume whatever you get your hands on. So whenever you get to that problem, just like how you had an epiphany that I need to, maybe there is something with using ActiveCampaign to send out emails to on my email list. When you have that epiphany, right then and then, go and put it into YouTube, how to blank. And right then, as you're watching it, the important part is you're not just watching it. Right then, you're watching it and applying it. You pause the video, go apply it. Pause the video, unpause it and continue applying it. That's the first part. Whenever you don't know how to do anything, it just comes down to how or who. So your mind should automatically just go YouTube. If not, who can I ask? And
this is not a theoretical thing. You have done this for several years, and just to get some of the accolades or whatever out of the way, you ended up using this platform called ClickFunnels, which is a way to sort of market and sell your services or products. And you ended up winning some award with them where you did, I think what was like over $1 million of sales through one of their funnels. So this is not like this theoretical thing where, you should just go try to do things. You've actually put this into practice.
Yeah. And the good news is actually a year later, and I could say I'm actually a couple of months away from 4 of those funnels.
4 separate funnels where you've generated $1 million. And how does the platform, I know they give the award out, but how do they know that you've actually generated that income through the app?
So they actually make you record a Loom video of your screen where you log into your Stripe account, your PayPal account, and you show that this amount is associated with this funnel, and you actually show inside of your funnel the statistics that you got this many visitors and all that stuff. You basically have to prove it.
Got it.
But let me share with you this cool story of receiving the ClickFunnels 2 Comma Club Award. They give it out once a year at the ClickFunnels conference, usually at the beginning of the year. I was there earlier this year. And the day that you receive the award, they put all these people who received this award in this room. It's kind of like a waiting room. And you looked around, and there was 400 people who are receiving this award this year. And I looked around, I'm like, oh my goodness, everyone here has basically made $1 million online. This is probably the most magical time ever in my life where I could basically just go talk to people, see exactly what they do and, learn from people. And we were standing in a small group And we're like, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? And we got to this 19-year-old kid. We're like, what do you do? And he's like, started like giggling. I'm like, why are you laughing? Like, what's so funny? He's like, you wouldn't believe what I do. I'm like, what do you do? He's like, I teach moms how to breastfeed.
What the hell?
And he made $1 million. So it was an epiphany for me. If a 19-year-old guy can teach moms how to breastfeed and make $1 million, imagine the possibilities of, the types of problems and needs that you can help your clients with, and how, you can use leverage online to be able to reach those customers and clients and offer your services.
I think lawyers have two reactions to that, or maybe more. One is, Jesus, what am I spending my time doing? What the hell am I have this guy selling, these services that make no sense, making $1 million, and here I am grinding in the most miserable, suffering fashion, making a small fraction of that. That's another concept. Like, people don't realize how hard it is as lawyers to make money. So that's one aspect of it. Here's the other aspect of it. Good for him. I can't do it. I can't do that. Sam, so you right now, a student comes to you, you're talking to them, you want them to enroll into your program, which helps people do this very thing, which is learn how to sell their services in a more, efficient manner and really scale up. What is your answer to saying, like, I get it. You can do this, Sam, but you think differently. I don't. I'm trained as this traditional lawyer. You're like, tell me how I'm going to be able to do that.
First of all, it's hearing from others that they've done it. I think, I try to do that, to our students. It's, some people may look at it like I'm showing off, or, I'm talking about myself, but I really do it to kind of open up people's eyes that it is possible. Really, that's my intent behind, sharing that, I've done it, so can you. And the fact that it is possible is really like the doors to you using your imagination to apply for yourself. I can tell you it's completely possible. The powers of online right now is, it's so minimally saturated to where it will be next year and 5 years later and 10 years later. So the sooner, it's one of those, huge opportunity costs when it comes to online. Don't let Amazon become $1 trillion thing. You could, create your own $1 million online business. All it takes is just education, follow people who have already done it, before you. And, just go apply it little by little. I
think what's cool about what you do is, for anybody that's ever suffered with anything, right? If you've suffered with anything for a very long time, when you figure it out, yes, there's a selfish interest in, okay, I can now go sell this, right? But there's something about spreading the joy, spreading the freedom, right? You actually practiced law for a while. You understood that it was tough. And I'm not trying to say that all forms of practicing law are brutal, but a lot of them are. And so you were able to figure out how to get out of what you perceive to be a trap, and now you have this blessing that you could share with other people. How fulfilling is it to see somebody who maybe puts up those sales objections and really is like, I just can't do it, I can't do it, and then now you see them thriving? It's
super gratifying, but it also feels like, I always feel like nothing is ever fully achieved. Just, step one. We're still on level one. So the world of possibility is still ahead of, everybody who applies these things, and I'm excited. Honestly, I'm always excited to apply more and more.
And just to share with people, like, that it's possible not to just do one thing. You have your hands in a lot of things. You have, like, I think you have multiple law firms. You run a teaching academy. Like, how do you figure out how to spend your days?
I think for most people, 99% of people should focus. I think that's really the answer. Mm-hmm. I think I'm pretty atypical. I don't think you should follow, doing different things. I think the answer really is focus.
Yeah.
I do also have a big focus on my wall. That's like the only thing that's on my wall. But yeah, it's focus. I think that's
so. What are the things you have your academy, the Legal Funnels, which is how you what do you do with on a top level? What does Legal Funnels do?
Legal Funnel basically helps coaches and trains lawyers to create their own virtual law firm.
And then you also have your own law firms. And what you took what you learned with your law firms and you applied it to this, where you're teaching people. What are some of the things that people? Okay, so talking about lead generation, I know you talk about that a lot. Some people say, I get enough leads from my friends, family, and my network. What do you say to that?
Don't.
Why?
Because it's not sustainable.
But it's so good. People know me. People call me. People need help. They call Benji. They call Sam. Why isn't that good enough?
Because it's not dependable. You cannot just go. Your business cannot have bottlenecks. Essentially, it's a bottleneck. If your business depends on, other people or one source, then it's just a matter of time. What if that one source dies out for you? It's just not dependable. You don't want to wake up in the morning and like what's going to happen today. So yes, you should have a dependable system that you could rely on, that you own, that you run, that you manage, that essentially that you own and run for yourself.
Okay, now I figure out I take the SAM school of lead generation, but let's say I actually am successful with the lead generation. How the heck am I going to manage and actually operate and take care of these opportunities that come to me?
It's all about delegation, hiring more as fast as you can. A lot of people, people don't want to hire because they think that it costs a lot, or people, when they think of hiring somebody, it's like, I need to spend $80,000 hiring somebody. When you hire somebody, you're not paying somebody $80,000. You're paying them $80,000 over a duration of a year. Mm-hmm. So what you're actually spending is $5,000 a month, which that $5,000 ideally should make you $15,000, $20,000 or more. So, that's how you got to look at it. It's not a $100,000 investment. If anything, it's an investment to make more money. So,
and there's also opportunities to outsource to different places where you don't necessarily need to have the person in-house, right?
Yeah, that's actually the beauty of, running a virtual law firm is you could hire what they call VAs, virtual assistants.
Yeah.
People from overseas who can run many facets of your law firm.
Okay, and what are the other things, just like broad topics of people? Okay, I want to do this, but I'm concerned about. I have a different business. I have to try cases. I do litigation, and that's just not something that I can delegate.
Sure. Yeah, maybe that's the only part. That should be the ideal thing, where you practice law and let other people run your business for you.
What's like the if you would say like the biggest achievement you had in taking somebody who had just you saw them and you're like, shit, I don't even know if this person can figure out how to do it, and then they did it anyway.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. It's the people that have the right mindset. At this point, I meet so many lawyers. The people who are kind of positive and open-minded and have a good attitude about it are the ones who are most likely to be successful. The ones who keep questioning things, who ask a lot of questions, and too detail-oriented, and people that think too much, right? I came up with, stop thinking, just do. Stop asking questions. Just
I have
just
a problem with that. I have a problem. Yeah, I think that there, as Arian's looking at me shaking his head, I think that it's really hard because as lawyers, you're trained to like really look for the evidence, look for the competing evidence, look for all of it. And yeah, what is it? What do you think it is that allows you to detach from that? It's not that you're detaching from critical thinking. It's that if you could just be devil's advocate too much.
Play some poker.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm joking.
Yeah, that's what's amazing. I see you out there. I mean, you have such an interesting life. You build these things, then I see you at the casinos. I mean, I'm just watching you. It's like, is this guy real?
I did not go to casinos over there, just heads up. I do play a lot of home games.
You do?
But now the reason why I say play poker is because you're able to detach from the money, from the chips. Basically, you see everything around you. Money is just a tool for you to do whatever you want to do. So, it becomes playing chips. Just treat it like playing chips.
Speaking of money as fuel, I'm afraid to advertise. I'm afraid to throw out the money. I'm afraid to invest in education like Sam's Academy. I'm afraid to invest. What is it? How should we be thinking about money?
Great question. It's this. This is it. This is the answer. Most people think about how much should I spend. Instead, always think about what am I going to get out of this. So it comes down to how much is a client worth to me. And everybody, it doesn't matter what business you're in, you should know this number to the T. Is an average client is worth $2,684 to the T. Okay. Once you know that, then you make a goal of how many clients you want in the first 3 months. For a client is worth $3,000. In the first 3 months, I want 5 clients. So that means $15,000, right? So far, so good. So with any of these investments and marketing things you got to do, you got to stick it out for 3 months. And your goal should be to break even. You just want to break even. It sets expectations very low. Obviously, you want to do better than that. So its expectations really low. As long as you break even, then you're on the right path, and you could refine it and you tweak it and make it better. So you got to, if that's the case, that the client is worth $3,000 for you to get 5 clients in the first 3 months, then it means you got to be willing to invest $15,000, set that aside, don't question it, and do it for 3 months and see, and then wait to do it, and then after 3 months, check in, pause the campaign or whatever it is. How did it go? Okay, I got 6 clients from it. Okay, great. Should I do more of it? Should I do less of it? That's how you got to look at it. So how much is the client worth to me, and then work backwards that way.
Okay, I'm a lawyer. I'm miserable. I don't think that I'm ever going to be able to get out of this jam. Give those lawyers out there or the professionals out there the reason why they can do it.
This is our time. It's never gonna get as easy as it is now. Just like the best way to kind of motivate people is, if I told you that, if you go create a funnel or online business for yourself, it's the same as, somebody coming to you in the 1980s and telling you, buy real estate. It's just is going to be amazing. It's going to be 10 times more. It's the same idea.
It really is.
Go buy your online real estate for yourself. You know, park it, grow, work on it, and over time will grow.
It is possible.
It is possible.
Okay, so tell us, Sam, where do we find you online, and any parting words for the LawFlip audience?
Sure. So if you are an attorney, I do have a Facebook group called Legal Funnel Members. Just search for Legal Funnel Members. Hopefully we'll link it out as well.
It's so good. You get incredible value. You're always like, wow, I can't believe Sam's giving away this piece of information. I can't believe he's giving that. He's giving away the secret sauce.
My mentor hates it.
Yeah, but he loves it because he knows it brings people over to you.
Yeah. And then the second is just go to legalfunnel.com. You'll fall into a funnel. You start getting retargeted from me, and
it's good. They get to experience what it's like to be to be on the receiving end of these funnels,
right? And you probably in the beginning you'll be like, who is this guy? But over time you realize the jig is up.
Yeah,
so just be a matter of time that you'll probably join and join the crowd.
Well, it's been an incredibly crazy year, but I'm super grateful to have you on after a year of insanity, ups and downs, and personal struggles and wins and losses and all these different things. You're still looking beautiful as ever. You got the beautiful smile, got the Persian ready to go jacket.
Just for you, Benji.
The whole thing. It's incredible. We really appreciate it. And Basha Tova on the baby. And we're looking forward to watching you continue your success. And thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much. And Benji, props to you. 1 year. Amazing. And to Ariane.
June.
Who's behind the scenes doing everything. Great job.
Thank you so much.
That was one of the first comments that I said to you, I think off camera.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's great that you're doing it, but just know if you're going to do this, go all the way. And great job.
Thank you so much.
I'm proud of you. I'll see you in 5 years.
All right, amazing. Sounds good. We'll see you next week, LawFlip.
LawFlip, objection, Your Honor. Turn the game upside down. LawFlip, objection, Your Honor. Turn the game upside down.
Okay, so Ariane, they're asking where they could find us. So for LawFlip, it's at LawFlip and lawflip.com. For Smith & Benowitz, our law firm, which does personal injury, employment, and class actions, you can find us at Smith Benowitz and smithbenowitz.com. For the personal stuff, like where you're really going to find the juicy stuff, at Benji Smith and benjismith.com. At Wages Guru and lewisbenowitz.com for Lewis. Oh, so LawFlip is produced, directed, and edited by the young legend Ariane Tabibi, visual effects and compositions by another young legend, Oren Azad. Intro music provided by Pen Practice. Pen Practice, what is it? Premium instrumentals for upcoming artists by the music industry's top producers. For more info, visit penpracticemusic.com. I had so much fun recording the intro song with my man Hilton Deuce Wright. Looking forward to hearing more and more from Pen Practice. So the LawFlip identity, this hot logo that you're looking at, created by Garrett Whiston and Travis Nagel. Special thank you to Shai and Seth from the Horwitz Marketing Agency. And lastly, this podcast is made available by Smith & Benowitz for educational and entertainment purposes only. It is only intended to provide general information and opinions about legal and other concepts, and is not intended to be used as a source of legal advice or relied on for legal advice. By listening to this podcast, you understand that no attorney-client relationship is being formed between you and Smith & Benowitz or any of its attorneys. This podcast should not be used as a substitute for competent legal advice from a licensed professional attorney in your state.